Good evening, folks, and a very warm welcome to you all. Thank you for joining us on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. My name is Tonchi Prusak. I am your host for tonight's episode, and as you can see by the backdrop, World Cup fever has arrived in Australia, in Geelong, in the world. Yes, what a time to be alive, isn't it, folks? The greatest game on the earth that has the greatest show on the earth. Tonight, it's episode 15 of our 8th season, 191 episodes in total. May I take this opportunity firstly and foremostly to welcome on board one of our old business advertising sponsors who this week has signed on for another 5-episode stint, Birregurra General Store. A big thank you to Steve and Angus DeCunto. They've come on board, and tonight they are joining Curva Coaching, Furphy, and Elephant and Castle. And speaking of the Elephant and Castle, World Cup watch sites, they're happening all around the place. A lot of the clubs are hosting them. We've also got one here in the city, but this one's very special at the Elephant and Castle. Big crowd turned up yesterday for the Turkey and Australia game this Saturday morning at 5 a.m. The big one against the hosts USA, and then Friday week, another big game coming up against Paraguay, and that game will be kicking off at 12 noon midday. Now, that's a scene from the Johnston Park live site, which is organised by the City of Greater Geelong. Now, speaking of that, we will be talking to Eddie Contel. Now, we had him on the show 2 weeks ago when he was deputy mayor. Well, he's got a promotion as a result of his appearance on our show. He's now the acting mayor. Well, not quite, but he's replacing his brother Stretch Contel, who's gone on a break. And as a result, Eddie is now the acting mayor. So he'll be joining us tonight to talk about that live site at Johnston Park. He'll also be talking about a big festive occasion happening in the CBD this weekend, this Friday night, that's got nothing really to do directly with football, but as part of the, the winter festivities at the moment with the World Cup, it ties in nicely with that. We'll also be talking to the daughter of a former New Zealand international who also happens to be her coach, and we're talking about Layla Butler. Her father, Jake, is the coach of Geelong at Galaxy United. And on the weekend, the ladies defeated Clifton Hill by 1-0 to jump into third spot on the VPLW competition standings. And our guest tonight, she was a scorer of that lone goal. Daniel Gniech is a young 20-year-old man. He had a promising career. He got to the highs of senior football at the age of 16 years. He was playing senior football at North Geelong Warriors. Unfortunately, he suffered not one, not two, but 3 knee injuries that required an operation. And by the age of 18, 19, effectively, his playing career was over. However, he fought adversity. He fought various obstacles to really provide an inspirational story of still remaining involved with the game, and his love for the game is more than ever. And he recently graduated as a C licensed coach, and we'll be talking to Daniel a little bit later on. He's got some fantastic messages for young players, how they can become better and what they need to do that maybe he should have done as well. That's a little bit later on in tonight's program. So a jam-packed episode, absolutely huge episode. I'm just going to say a big shout out, a big thank you to Santino Marmone. I had coffee with him the other day. Santino, you're a legend. One of those people that religiously watches this show every week, and he's always pushing it, always promoting it, and I can see he's already active on the comment section. We've also got Marinko Kero. Congratulations to the Socceroos, he says. Folks, jump on the comment section and we'd love to hear from you tonight. What was your favourite moment of the Socceroos game? Where did you watch it? Where do you plan on watching it this Saturday? Jump on board and tell us all about it. Well, one place where certainly it's going to be happening this Saturday morning, wee hours of Saturday morning, is at the Elephant and Castle. And here's a couple of words from our business advertising sponsor. Straight after that, we're going to get straight into the news desk. Heaps happening from the weekend. Where in Geelong can you get great food from such a wide-ranging menu? Friendly staff and a bar to enjoy drinks with friends? Live sport in the beer garden from Thursday nights to Sunday afternoons. Live music every Saturday night and every Sunday night. And our famous Grandma's Roast every Sunday lunch. Well, at the Elephant and Castle, of course. Situated on 158 McKillop Street in East Geelong, the Elephant and Castle has everything that you will want and need when you decide to have a night out on the town. The Elephant and Castle is the home of the Socceroos in Geelong. We'll be showing all Socceroos games live during the coming World Cup. For more information on all of our upcoming events or to book one online, click on the book tab now on the Elephant and Castle website at www.elephantandcastle.com.au. Yes, welcome back to the news desk, and let's get straight into it. So this week, the Galaxy, as we mentioned, they defeated Clifton Hill 1-0. Layla Butler scoring there in the 82nd minute, and as a result of that win, they overtook Clifton Hill and jumped into third position. So with 26 points, pretty close there at the top. I think it's like 3 points or 2 points separates Galaxy from the second place side, and only 3 or 4 points from the top side. So they're certainly in the reckoning as far as promotion is concerned, just a little bit over the halfway mark of the season. As I said, we'll be speaking to Layla a little bit later on in the show tonight. This weekend, Galaxy travels to bottom side Melbourne University. That game on Saturday at 3 p.m. at Princess Park. Melbourne University not doing the best at the moment, so you'd expect a win for Geelong Galaxy, but you can never underestimate those teams down the bottom. North Geelong Warriors defeated top team Northcote City 2-1 over the weekend in VPL 1 competition. Angus Chapman scoring in the 26th minute, Cassian Ungel in the 56th minute. So those two are doing very well, very much in form. And what a victory that was for the Warriors against the top side. And it was an incredible result there. Nonetheless, they still stay in 18th position. They do have a game in hand over Manningham United, who are in 7th position. And guess what? The Warriors take on the Blues this weekend. In fact, on Saturday at Petty's Reserve. Kickoff there is at 3:15 p.m. So a win for the Warriors will see them jump over Manningham and possibly as high as 6th or 5th as well. Let's move our attention now to Men's State League 1 competition. Halfway mark of the season has been achieved. And in the 11th round, Geelong defeated Westvale 2-1. Kohane Yamakami scoring for Geelong. It was his first goal of the season. Well done to him. And Mathul Koué scoring his 6th goal for the Lions. It's his 6th goal in the last 7 games. So well done to Kual. He's doing a ripper job there for the Lions at Stead Park, or Winslow Park, as they are known. In State League 2, Surf Coast, big win over Williamstown. 2-0. James Alexander and Riku Sukanaga scoring for the Coasters. It was Alexander's first goal of the season and Sukanaga's third goal this year. Corio lost to Unihill Eagles 0-3 at Hume Reserve, and Geelong Rangers defeated Altona North by 1-0. Anthony Piratina scoring the only goal of the game, and it was his first goal of the season. Don't know what happened in State League 4. We're going to gloss over that very, very quickly. Watsonia Heights defeated Bell Park 6-0. Goodness me, don't know what happened there, but nonetheless, well, next week is a new week, as they say, so I'm sure that Alan Muscat will have his boys training very, very hard this week in anticipation of this weekend's round of action. Round of football. In State League 5, Deakin Ducks drew with Darebin United 2-2. Jeremiah Jacoby once again figuring amongst the goals. And he, how many is that for the year? 9 goals this season. Ninth goal this season that was for Jacoby. Finn Duncan scoring his 5th goal of the season. But it wasn't enough as the Ducks could only draw 2-2 with Darebin United. Bottom side, Lara United lost to Moonee Valley Knights 1-4. Things are certainly looking bleak at Lara Recreation Reserve. Cornelius Azalibi scoring the only goal of the match for the home side. In State League 6, Truganina Hornets defeated Barn Soccer Club 6-1. Geez, another big loss on the weekend for a Geelong side. Cooper McCormack scoring there for Barwon. And Ocean Grove doing very well against Melbourne University, 3-2 winners. Patrick Scusa scoring 2 goals. That takes his tally to 6 goals this season. Jack Banks scoring 1 goal. Let's turn our attention now to the fixtures coming up this weekend, round 12 action. Top of the table clash in State League 1. Geelong travels to second-placed Upfield at Gibb Reserve. A win here will open up a handy buffer zone for Geelong at the top of State League 1, and that's what we want to see. In State League 2, Strathmore, which is the top team in Div 2, they host our Geelong Rangers at Strathnava Reserve at 3 p.m. FC Strathmore on the weekend celebrated their 50th anniversary, and they will certainly be in party mode, but the Rangers will be looking to spoil their party. Corio Soccer Club, bottom side, taking on Williamstown, the wounded Williamstown, who relinquished their 3rd spot to Surf Coast, and they've dropped down to 4th. They travel to Hume Reserve in a tough game for Corio, and it's a must-win game for the visitors. Surf Coast, who now occupy 3rd spot on the ladder, they travel to the ridiculously named Waste Sense Park to take on 10th placed Albion Rovers. That game kicking off at 3 p.m. In State League 4, Melbourne University, who are on the bottom, they host our Bell Park. It's a gilt-edged opportunity for the All Whites to redeem themselves after that loss last week. And geez, what a bad result that was, that's for sure. Alrighty, let's move along over the page. In State League 5 action, it's another top-of-the-table clash. This time, this game is going to be held in Bendigo at the Epsom Huntley Recreation Reserve. Deakin Ducks taking on second-place Bendigo City. Big, important game for the Ducks up there at the Epsom Huntley Reserve. Lara United taking on, it says second place, but that's not right. Second, Meadow Park, I believe, might be 4th or something like that. Typo there, apologies, folks. They take on, Lara United taking on Meadow Park at Lara Recreation Reserve at 3 p.m. this Saturday. And finally, last but not least, in State League 6, Ocean Grove travels to 9th place West Point at Webster Street Reserve. That game kicking off at 3 p.m. Grovedale Reserve will be the venue for the Barwon versus Glenroy Lions game. Important clash, that. Really, really important clash for the Glenroy Lions. They're on the bottom of the ladder, but an equally important game for Barwon, who are 8th at the moment. Okay, what else have we got? Well, it's good to see with the football at the moment, the World Cup. It doesn't happen often, but there are the 2 limited newspapers that I guess is closest to us. The Geelong Advertiser having the Go Aussies, Geelong Goes Wild on the front page, and Rue Beauty on the Herald Sun. Doesn't happen often. Let's enjoy it while we can, folks, because I guess what, in 4 weeks, all the media will go back to covering AFL and NRL and cricket and God knows whatever other sport they cover in this country. But at least in the meantime, let's enjoy it and let's party, because it's not going to last forever, I suppose. Now we're moving along to State League, the Women's State League action. North Geelong Warriors came up against second place Craigieburn City and lost 2-0. Unfortunate result there. And round 8 fixture this Saturday, a big game for the Warriors. They come up against sister club St Albans Dinamo in the Croatian derby at Alco Park, kicking off at 3 p.m. And that game is going to be a contest between 3rd and 7th. There hasn't been one of these sister derbies in a long, long time, so no doubt there's going to be quite a decent-sized crowd at this game on Saturday, no doubt. Let's turn our attention to the local competition. First of all, the men's Division 1 round 3 results saw Bell Park defeat Surf Coast 2-0. Golden Plains recorded a big 6-0 win over FC Leopold at the Estuary Reserve. Bowen defeated Geelong Rangers 2-1. And Armstrong United drew with the Deakin Ducks 0-0, the only game on Sunday. In round 4 fixtures this week, 5th placed Golden Plains host Geelong Rangers at 7 p.m. on Friday night. 7:30 p.m. we'll see Deakin Ducks hosting Bell Park. Bottom side Ducks up against the second placed Bell Park. On Sunday, Armstrong United hosts Bowen, case of 4th versus 3rd. And Surf Coast will be hosting FC Leopold, a case of 6th versus 7th. And on to the women's Division 1 competition. There were only 3 games played this weekend. Deakin Ducks and Geelong Rangers. That was a forfeit, so 3-0 in favour of the Ducks. Surf Coast defeated Lara United. Big win there, 4-0. Bell Park, good win over Armstrong United, 2-1. And a huge win for Bowen over Ocean Grove, 7-1. Top of the table clash at Grovedale Reserve on Saturday at 1 p.m. There's going to be a whole day of football happening there at Grovedale Reserve. Bowen taking on second place Surf Coast. That game kicking off at 1 p.m. And then we've got the reserves and the senior men's from the State 5 competition after that. Armstrong United hosting Lara United. Ocean Grove at home to Deakin Ducks. And Geelong Rangers at home to Bell Park in the big Northern Suburbs derby. That's kicking off at 3 p.m. Alrighty, that seems to... before we go, we've got one fantastic bit of news here, and it concerns Geelong Galaxy. And in a post early today, they said they're proud to congratulate Hannah Walsh, Ayla Nikolovsky, Isabel Petsis, and Matilda Randles-Peterson on their selection to attend Football Australia's Talent Development Scheme event. This recognition is a significant achievement for each player and reflects their hard work, commitment and continued progression, not only within the Geelong Galaxy program, but also through the Football Victoria pathway and their strong performances at this year's Emerging Matildas Championships. It's a 2-day event. It will be held at the home of the Matildas, and it will be led by Junior Matildas head coach and former Surf Coast coach Michael Cooper, who also, I think, had a stint at Geelong, if I'm not mistaken. Now, it's an incredible achievement for these girls. It's the start of a pathway that hopefully will lead to the Matildas. But to Hannah, Matilda, Isabel, and Ayla, congratulations, girls, and do the region proud. Rightio, I think we've gone through all that is to be gone through as far as the news. We're going to take a very, very short break. Furphy Geelong, another one of our fantastic sponsors, and they were sponsored us last year under the name of Geelong Galvanising. They've had a rebrand. And here's a couple of messages from Furphy Geelong. After that, we'll be speaking to the acting mayor of the city of Greater Geelong, Eddie Contal. Furphy, you've known us previously as Geelong Galvanising. For over 30 years, our team has specialised in delivering high-quality surface finishes for steel installations and products in the construction, landscaping and engineering industries. That's not changing. What is changing? We're making things more official. The company formerly known as Geelong Galvanising is now known simply as Furphy. If it's steel solutions you're after, you're in the right place. For all our customers, both old and new, this transition simply means more capabilities, more locations, and the same trusted experience. We're still here to deliver steel solutions for a brighter tomorrow. Only now, we're doing it under a name that's been part of our collective story in Australian manufacturing for over a century. For all your steel solutions, contact our Geelong office on 5275 7555 or email us at sales.geelong@burpee.com. Or pop in and see us. We're still at the same place at 360 Bacchus Marsh Road in Corio. And World Cup fever well and truly has hit the country, the world, in fact. And here in our little part of the world in Geelong, it's a pretty happening time of the year, that's for sure. Winter in Geelong, what an exciting time it is because football fever, as I said, has really engulfed our town, our city, and of course, why wouldn't it? And to tell us a little bit more about it is a man who, since he was on the show just 2 weeks ago, has got a promotion, a big promotion. And what a pleasure it is to welcome back to the show after a short break of 2 weeks. He's now not the deputy mayor, he's the acting mayor, Eddie Contal. Eddie, welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. How are you?
I'm very well, Tonchi. Thanks for having me again. You can't get away from me, can you? So I apologise. I know you would have loved to have had the official mayor here, but the official mayor is currently on leave, and so I'm taking up my responsibilities in that part, which is to step up as the acting mayor over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, look, I won't deny it was Stretch. Your brother was our first choice, but we're happy to settle for the acting mayor, the deputy mayor, and look, one of the last things that he did before he I guess went on a little bit of a break, and a well deserved break too, I might add, was be part of the live site, the Socceroos live site at Johnston Park, and we've got some footage here of that, courtesy of K-Rock and some of your own personal photos as well. But mate, what a great turnout it was! What an atmosphere!
Oh, it really was. It was fantastic. Our numbers are telling us that there was some 500 to 600 people at Johnston Park, and as you know, the weather was really kind. It was a beautiful sunny day, no wind, no rain. And it was just a spectacular amphitheatre to be in, watching the World Cup there in our own hometown.
Yeah. What a beautiful day it was. What a perfect time it was. Look, we're not going to get into the scheduling of games. I know North Geelong Juniors and Geelong, I think, were playing down in Melbourne. Of course, the clubs made sure that everyone was able to watch the games. And look, great, fantastic to all the clubs that had their own watch parties as well. That was really great to see, adding to the festivities, the occasions. But off air, you were telling me a really interesting thing. A lot of the people there were not, well, people, and you would know a lot of soccer people, a lot of football people, but a lot of people were not new. So, look, potentially things like these, the time of year, it's really opening up the sport. And look, last week we spoke to Mike McKinstry, we spoke to Adrian Leon. Look, they're both expecting an influx of new people to the sport. But, mate, nothing unites us in a time when we're quite a divided society, like the Socceroos, and especially doing so well on the world stage.
I agree, Tonchi, and you and I had a few messages exchanged last night about it, and I totally agree. Of the people that were there, and as you say, I know a lot of the soccer people in Geelong.
Yeah.
This was more a mainstream crowd, which is good because
how great
we
is
both
that?
know that there was watch parties at the various clubs. So that means that people were watching anyway. But these were people that I hadn't perhaps seen before. So, new people to the sport, lots of kids, lots of children, lots of diversity, people with disabilities, all sorts, coming there just to enjoy Australia and the world game, the beautiful world game. So it was fantastic. And then spilling out into the streets of the CBD.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely fantastic. And look, I'm going to say it's great that we do have these opportunities. And yet, people are going to say for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, Australia's going to follow the football and the world game, and then they'll go back to their AFL and NRL. But you know what? It always happens. The fallout from this is that people just get to see what an amazing sport it is and the global appeal of it. It's absolutely incredible. I'm excited about it. You're excited. We are all excited. But let's turn our attention now to this weekend coming. Wow, 5 a.m. Saturday morning. The live site's back on, is it?
Look, it's to be confirmed. So just to explain to the community, the live site is co-funded between the state and the council. Council more so with in-kind traffic management teams of people helping and assisting, and then state government through funding, of course. It's to be confirmed. It's probably unlikely this weekend.
Because of the time slot, is it?
But maybe, it's a maybe. But next game, there's a lot of work going into potentially the last game.
Yeah. It is a bit of an awkward time, I guess, 5 a.m. when we're thinking most of those people are family people. So it's really hard. Geez, if it was cold like it was this morning, it's going to be very hard to have a live site. But look, having said that, putting that aside, wherever people are going to watch it, at the clubs, certainly the Elephant and Castle is a big one that at the moment is planning a big live site. And look, they are our support partners. I guess they've done a lot in that regard as well. So we're looking at Elephant and Castle. They're going to be doing a lot of work with us. Well, I should say not a lot of work, but they'll be having definitely a live site. But before that happens, Geelong is really going to come alive with the night market, the first edition of the night market. Tell us a little bit more about this, because this is really exciting. I know it's not got nothing to do with football, but it's keeping that festivities alive over this Winter World Cup time, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. No, you're absolutely right, Tonchi. If you make your way down to the Elephant Castle, Mario and the team will look after you very well down there, being big soccer people. But to the night market, yeah, we're really excited about this. It's launching this Friday night in Little Mallet Street between 4 o'clock and 9 p.m. And really, the event serves as the official opening of the 2026 Tastes of Geelong festival. So for those that aren't aware of that, this is a festival that's been going for some 15 years, and it's really celebrates the region's food, drink, wine, and hospitality sector. And so the night market, which comes off the successful Geelong City markets that we're holding now weekly on a Saturday, will be held this Friday night. And what people can expect to see is, of course, local food, drinks, vendors. There'll be regional producers and makers of all arts and crafts. There's also going to be live entertainment, roving performers, fire pits, marshmallows, and just a really family-friendly atmosphere, exactly like the live site was yesterday. So people should, really make the time, I think, and get back into the CBD and enjoy all that it has to offer. And then if you want to spill into Little Mallet Street or one of the other venues after that, by all means do so.
Well, you can pull an all-nighter. You can go there from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock, as you say. Afterwards, make an all-nighter. There's all the information about the Elephant and Castle from 5 p.m. Obviously, the telecast starts at 4 a.m., so it has been known to be done in the past when the games were at some ungodly hours, like 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning. People pull all-nighters. But look, the getting back to the night market, 4 o'clock till 9 o'clock. Look, a real family-friendly time. There's going to be something there for everyone. It's part of the revitalising the Geelong CBD. Turn up in your green and gold. Let's see as much colour there as possible. And then you can still get home at a reasonable hour to wake up nice and early Saturday morning. Eddie, mate, before we let you go, we can talk about football all the time, but from the last time you were on this show 2 weeks ago to now, we had the country championships, and talking about spectacular events, how good was that and how good was the weather?
Oh, it was just magnificent. I was there for the kickoff, pardon the pun, early that Saturday morning. It was just fantastic to have visitors from all over the regional areas of Victoria. Some 4,000, 5,000 people came to visit our region. And then, we had about 1,200 odd participants playing and participating in the game. And the best of the talent in our country areas. the Victorian Country Championships, along with what's going on with the Socceroos, we're going to see a huge surge again. Like we did see when the Matildas were so successful, in kids and people wanting to participate more in our world game. Even more reason why we need a regional soccer hub, football hub. And I know you had a great chat with Mike, and I watched that interview, which was excellent. So we all got to get behind that so that we can have these events in one venue and really take advantage of all of that.
And who knows, in 4 or 5 years' time, when it's the next World Cup, we might have a central, like a live site where we actually have a big screen in a massive area and bring the whole football community together. Gosh, how good would that be on one of the pitches there or something like that? That would be absolutely.
The other thing I just wanted to add is, I've been around for a little while now and looking at different cities and regions and whatnot. And one thing I have seen, and I think people will mainly agree with me, is that Geelong is a really great community to celebrate things like, the World Cup, Paco Festa, Festival of Sales, and we've got a really safe environment. We all seem to have a pretty good respect for one another. So I encourage people to bring your families, feel comfortable and safe to come to these venues. We'll make sure that the security and all those things are around. But by and large, I see Geelong as a really respectful, welcoming community where we can enjoy these things without fear of any issues that we see in some of the other cities.
Yeah. And look, you do mention something very important, and I guess we need to talk about that as well. And I guess that's what the City of Greater Geelong is trying to do, the Alicia councillors, is that trying to liven the CBD with more activities, particularly family-friendly activities. And the more of that happens, and we've seen it on a Saturday with the markets, in Market Square, which has a much maligned reputation. When more of those activities are happening, less likely the negative stuff is going to happen, because that gets pushed somewhere else. All right, it might still exist, but at least where it matters in the CBD, where it tries to get all the people together, we've got a lot more of a friendly type of atmosphere. So, mate, on behalf of the football community, we applaud you for these activities, and hopefully we can see the live sites at Johnston Park happening on a regular basis. We'll look forward to it.
Yeah, fantastic. And we thank the state government also for assisting with this in a big way. So it's a collective effort.
Yeah, good on you, Eddie. We're going to let you go, and thank you so much. The acting mayor of the City of Greater Geelong, Eddie Contell.
Thank you.
Good on you. And that's it. Geelong showing Melbourne the way when the Melbourne City Council at first said that they were going to not have a live site. Then they turned their attention. The Geelong City Council was straight out of the bat saying, we are going to have a live site. Yay, go Geelong, go Socceroos. We're going to take a break after this very, very short break, and we're going to continue with tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. Fantastic service, food and coffee, well-stocked produce and groceries at very reasonable prices. 5 stars for the coffee served, beautifully made latte, everything you need in this wonderful little shop. Staff are always friendly and helpful, an absolute treasure to the community. These are just some of the glowing comments of praise by both regular and first-time customers of the iconic Birregurra General Store. The De Cunto family, well known in Geelong football circles, has run the iconic Country General Store since 2020, and apart from providing top quality service, they, along with their extremely pleasant and friendly staff, make sure that everything you could possibly need is well stocked and always available. Located at 59 to 61 Main Street in Birregurra and open all 7 days a week, the Birregurra General Store is open from 6am each weekday and 7am on weekends. If in Birregurra, pop in and say hello to Steve and Angus. And welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. It's going to be a pleasure talking to our next guest. She was the match winner on the weekend. She scored the only goal of the game in the Victorian Premier League women's clash between Geelong Galaxy and Clifton Hill. And what a win that was in absolute torrential rain down at Quamby's Reserve in Clifton Hill. Our next guest, Layla Butler from Geelong Galaxy United. Layla, welcome to the Geelong Region Soccer Show. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, well, it's thanks for coming on the show. It's an absolute pleasure. Now, what a great result that was. First of all, congratulations on scoring that goal. How did you look? first of all, we've got some footage here. Let's go through some of that footage. And how did that go? Here we go. Take us through some of this action.
Yeah, so obviously our striker, she's very, active, getting around, lots of ball. Uh, I feel like our defense really won the game for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday they were solid. Obviously, Clifton Hill have a really strong front line. So a solid defense was what we needed to definitely get through the game. It was raining lots, as you can
Oh,
tell.
look at that shot, yeah.
Yeah. So that
Was it
definitely-
hard to adapt to the conditions, or you girls found it pretty easy to adapt to the greasier conditions compared to Clifton Hill?
It was very hard, actually. The ball was
Oh, look
slipping
at that.
everywhere, it was zipping. Yeah, I thought it was really hard when the rain hit us. I thought the ball was just flying everywhere. But yeah. Came out.
Now, that was a great goal there. And who fed that ball to you towards the end there?
That was our
Yep.
Japanese visa.
Now, she's been a real revelation this year. She's scored quite a few goals, obviously assists there as well. How good has it been having someone like her, an international caliber player, with the girls, really, really guiding the girls and scoring those goals when it really matters?
It's very good. I think her and Em's obviously a bit older. She has a bit of experience, knowledge under her belt. Her and really connect well together, and are able to get really good creative attacking pieces going forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good learning off them, I think, and connecting with them. Obviously, the other girls as well, they probably feel the same way. Being able to connect with good, better players, it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah. Now, as a result of that win, you've jumped to third spot on the competition standings after 13 rounds on 26 points. 3 points behind second place Bandura and 4 points behind Eltham Redbacks. Now, we've just gone past the halfway mark of the season, into the second half of the season. I know and certainly coaches don't like talking about it, and senior players don't like talking about it. But promotion, it is in the sights. It's for the first time in many years. It's possible. It's there. Is that something that has been talked about in the dressing room? The possibility, slim at the moment but very real, of next year playing NPLW football.
Yeah, it has been talked about a little bit. We all know that it's a very tight competition this year. Obviously, all the other VPL teams have strengthened as well, so it's no game's an easy game this season. But we're not really too focused on that. We're just trying to make sure we get through each week by week, just making sure we put in the performance, put in our own effort, control what we can control. And yeah, hopefully we reap the rewards from that.
Yeah. Now, you've started the season. You started the season playing at Myers Reserve as your home ground, and since then have moved to Golden Plains ground up in Bannockburn. It's from afar looking at the whole situation. It seems like you guys have really hit top form since moving to Bannockburn. How are you finding the facilities? They're fantastic, and the pitch is unbelievable. But how are you as a team, as a unit, finding the facilities in Bannockburn?
Yeah, we love it there. It's very nice facility, good ground, good pitch. The people are lovely there. Yeah, when we were training there, it was very nice. Obviously, the ball zips around. It was a bit of a drive. Some people were a bit worried about having to commit a bit further.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess everyone thought it's worth it for the better facilities.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it seems to be going really well. And just looking at your last 5 games, 4 wins, a draw as well. Ridiculously good form. It's the same, I guess, as Bandura and Eltham, who have also recorded 4 wins and a draw from their last 5 games. But this week coming up, you've got an important game against second last placed Melbourne Uni away. Obviously, team is expected to do well. Team is expected to win. And as I look at the fixtures, both Eltham and Bandura also have away games. But when you come up against these relatively easy teams on paper, it's easy to sort of take them for granted, or take the situation for granted. What was the conversation in the dressing rooms immediately after Clifton Hill? Was it one of trying to keep your head down, like level-headed, and just focusing on the training this week leading up to next week's game?
It was a little bit of both. I mean, I wouldn't say we didn't expect to win, but we definitely knew it was going to be a very difficult challenge to get through. So yeah, we obviously celebrated very hard.
Yep. And now it's a case of look forward to next week, and also, do you reckon you'd approach it the same way as you would any other game, or you kind of will the coach kind of focus on different things?
I think we'll probably treat it the same as what last week was. Yeah. Obviously, away games are so hard. So
yeah, definitely can't take anything for granted. Yeah. Now, if there's one person that's going to make sure that you're grounded, it's your coach, Jake Butler, who happens to be your dad. Now, I got to ask you the question, what's it like having your dad as the coach at senior level in particular?
I have mixed opinions about it.
I'm sure he's not tuning in, so you can tell us the truth.
It's good in terms of he obviously pushes me really hard.
Yeah. Does he push you harder, you think, like in your eyes, does he push you harder because you're his daughter?
Yeah, definitely. He definitely is much more harsh with my performance in games and trainings. Yeah. But yeah, it's just because he knows me and he knows the level that I can achieve. So
yeah. And I find I speak to a lot of coaches who have got sons or daughters in the team, and a lot of them readily admit that. And it's quite interesting because I know from personal experience coaching a junior level, you kind of, because exactly what you just said, you kind of know what to expect and what they're capable of. So having said that, from your perspective, does that kind of like give you that little bit more motivation to work harder, to try and impress the coach, impress maybe the teammates, because you know you have to kind of work twice as hard?
Yeah, definitely. I always find myself trying to do extra good in front of my teammates, just to show them that I'm not just here because it's my dad, that's the coach. I really need to, show them that I'm here because I am good enough.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned before Emily Sutcliffe, who's in absolute fantastic form, who has played previously at NPLW level, and we had her on the show earlier this year as well, as a mentor, but also Anne, who's the Japanese import as well. Are there any other players there that you really look up to for a little bit of guidance and on-field guidance more so than anything else? But do you find any other players there who really help you on the park when your dad's on the sidelines or what you're not? Who do you kind of most look up to as well?
I look up to everyone for different things. Mm-hmm. Definitely, my entire team are so supportive and helpful for everything. I definitely look up to some of the other visas in my squad. Obviously, them coming from international backgrounds, they have some experience that's a bit different from mine. I also look up to oh my god, Steph, one of our goalkeepers.
Yep, Anderson, Yep,
she's a bit older, and she's like a big sister to me almost, with her advice and stuff like that.
She comes from a very, very famous family of Andersons here in Geelong. Her two brothers, Michael and Nicholas, have played at the top level, and David, the dad, has also coached. And I guess that's a really good point. She's a little bit older, but she's also the goalkeeper, so she can on the field can see everything that's happening in front of her. Now that's a really good point you make. What about yourself? What are your ambitions? I mean, is this your first year of playing senior football? So you've broken into the senior ranks this year, or have you played last year?
Last year I played NPLW for Brunswick Juventus. Mm-hmm. That was a really good year because I got a lot of experience, game time, which I didn't originally anticipate. Mm-hmm. The final result of that season wasn't as good as what I would have hoped for a debut season, but it was experience at the end of the day, which I'm very glad to have. Taught me new things that I wouldn't have learned otherwise, and Yeah.
How and so obviously you've seen the standard. Is there a big difference between NPLW and VPLW?
With there's a few small differences. I think people definitely underestimate the quality of VPL. It's
Uh-huh.
way stronger than what most would imagine. Like
Yep.
week in, week out, competition is very, very difficult. I would say though, I think NPLW is just maybe a bit faster paced, and they have a bit of a more physically
More physicality type thing.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, look, Galaxy are currently in third, and I noticed on the ladder, Brunswick Juventus, who were relegated from last year, are currently in fourth position, just behind you guys. And then we've got Clifton Hill in fifth position, whom you beat on the weekend. If, let's say, for example, this current team was to get promoted as is, without any new recruits and whatnot, how would they fare in the NPLW competition? Would they be competitive enough, or would they really, really struggle to kind of come up against some of the other teams in NPLW at the moment?
Oh,
Tough question.
yeah, tough question. I'm not quite sure about that.
Yeah. Okay, not a problem. Not a problem. Let's. We're running out of time, but before we do finish up, let's talk World Cup, because that at the moment is the big thing. And gosh, yesterday massive result for the Socceroos, and we saw. Last week, we're speaking to Mike McKinstry from the Geelong Football Region Geelong, and Adrian Lowe were talking about the effects that the Asian Women's Cup had earlier in the year, and then with the anticipated effects that the World Cup, the Men's World Cup, will have. But what a great result for Australia, and obviously the sport. Can you see the sport just growing in leaps and bounds over the next few years on the back of all that international kind of exposure?
Yeah, 100%. I already see so many people that weren't originally soccer fans starting to follow the Socceroos, the Matildas. Yeah, it's really good to see that it's starting to expand.
Yeah. Now, your dad being a former New Zealand international, and tomorrow morning as we speak, New Zealand coming up against Iran. I think it's 11 a.m. kickoff, so it's a little like a late morning kickoff now. Do you follow the fortunes of the All Whites? How do you expect New Zealand to go in this game?
Honestly, they've got a somewhat easy group. I think if they do well enough, they will be able to get through to the next round. Yeah.
What's your dad saying? What's he expecting?
I don't know, honestly. He wants him to win. That's all. That's all I know.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we want our neighbours to do well as well as our own Socceroos. Layla, on that note, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Hopefully, this is the start of more goals, as was the case on the weekend, and very important goals as well. Big game coming up against Melbourne University. Good luck with that, and hopefully you can return back to Geelong with all 3 points in tow.
Thank you so much for that.
Good on you. Layla Butler from Geelong Galaxy United. What a lovely young lady, and what a great goal that was for Geelong Galaxy United on the weekend. Folks, we're going to take a very short break, and when we return, we're going to continue with tonight's World Cup episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast.
The world is yours. So work hard, and you can have whatever it is you want.
You don't have to do anything. Welcome back to the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast, and we're coming to you from Hume Reserve in Bell Park, the heart of Bell Park, the heartland of football here in Geelong, as most people talk about it, refer to it. And with me today is a very special young man who grew up practically just around the corner here, and this is his neighbourhood. Daniel Ganyech. Daniel, how are you?
How are you? I'm good.
Yeah. Now, a lot of young fellas around Geelong will know you very well because you've had a chance to coach them.
Yes.
We'll talk about the coaching because these days speaking of the coaching, you just recently you graduated from a C license course.
Yes,
and that's the first step for really getting into serious coaching. Now, you're only a young fella. Tell us a bit more about the C license course. How old are you?
The C license. I'm 20.
20. Yep.
Yeah, the C license course is your first step to the semi-professional coaching and really taking it more seriously.
Yeah.
It's a great course. It goes over 4 days, 2 to 4 weeks, and they really hammer you on what to do, principles of play, how to coach, different coaching styles, and teach you to be open-minded. There's no one way fits all. You've got to be adaptable, which is really exciting to learn about.
Yeah. Now, Daniel, as you said, you grew up in this area, Bell Park, heartland of soccer, Hume Reserve. This is pretty much where it all started.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about where it all started very shortly for you. And you had a very promising career. Unfortunately, it was cut short by injury and 3 knee injuries, before the age of what, 18, 19?
18, yes.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. And obviously that cut your career short. You were on the verge where, in fact, you made your senior debut at North Geelong Warriors in a pre-season tournament when you were aged 15. There's some footage now that let's go back to that. We're going to jump from one thing to another, but you were 15, turning 16.
15, turning 16, yes.
You managed to earn yourself a senior gig at North Geelong, and as you can see, you certainly don't look out of place on the field. That was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And then the world at your feet, promising football career, and then what happened?
Yeah, there was a lot of factors. I trained a lot, practiced a lot, and I don't think I managed myself correctly. There was always more training. Got to be the strongest, fittest, that Ronaldo mentality.
Yeah.
And it just caught up to me, and I just didn't recover properly and just got injured. But it happens. That's football. You've got to learn from that. Hopefully, I can teach others not to do the same thing.
Yeah. So it was one of those going too hard, too fast, maybe. And we hear a lot about these days, kids suffering from severs and leg injuries, young women particularly having ACL injuries, and that was one of the problems that you had with the ACL and 3 knee injuries. But for anyone else, that's it. Career over, football over. But for you, you decided that at that point that you wanted to get involved with the game, stay involved with the game, and that's where the coaching started. Now, was that something that you were doing already by that stage, or was that something that, you're forced to kind of think, that's it, my playing career is over and I'm still a teenager, but I love the sport so much, I still want to get involved. How did the coaching part of things come into it?
When I was younger, I had my little brother, Gabby, and he needed an assistant coach for his team, under 13s. I was a bit younger, 14, 15. And I was just assistant coach, rock up on game days, do bits and pieces, nothing serious. And then, I've been coaching pretty much ever since I started, playing football more seriously. I just enjoyed it, loved learning. It was just an excuse to be around the ball more, really. Just get out the house, kick the ball, join in.
That's interesting. Now, look, like I said, we're going to jump from thing to thing this conversation. It's just a chat. It's just a normal chat. But when you started assisting coaching for your brother's team, Gabby, in hindsight, did it make you a better player?
Definitely.
I mean, you're still developing. Yeah, tell me more about that.
Coaching, you see things from a different aspect. You see everything differently, different perspectives. And when I was coaching, it was like, okay, just do this, man. Simple, just copy that. What does that mean? What does it do? You have to really explain why. So all this stuff I'd learnt, I was just expecting everyone else to know. Like, drill it in. Why? Why do I kick a passer? Why? And I just really had to teach them how to do something like that and how to step forward, make the correct movements. And then I'd apply it to myself. I'd say, take a touch with your furthest foot. But then I wouldn't do that. I had to really, really recondition myself when I'm playing. Take a touch with my furthest foot because it does make a difference. So what I say, I have to be able to do as well. It's got to be fit as well.
So it just opens up a whole new dimension. Now that's something that I always say to a lot of people, and talking to a lot of parents and coaches. And one of the things that they say, young kids, I know there's a lot of pressure on them these days, but
doing that actually makes them a better player by looking at it from a different angle and what you're not. And gosh, us parents know when we're on the sidelines, we see everything. We know what everything has to be done. But when you're in that midst of battle, you don't see things sometimes. Yeah. So that coaching element gives you that different perspective, which is really good. So it's great. You had a taste of the coaching before the injuries, but when did you suffer your first knee injury? So you're playing NPL football, pretty high level, pretty full on. When did you suffer your first injury?
So I was just turned 16, about a month later, May. Just at training. I was actually here on this field, just down that side.
Yeah.
Just a normal tackle, it just snapped, and it just happens like that really quickly.
And so was this before or after you'd made your senior debut?
After.
Wow. So just after you've made your senior debut, and geez, that's tragic, yeah. What happened then? How long were you out of action for?
12 months.
Wow.
So it's a 12-month injury, but I tried to do it quickly, 6 to 9 months, and I was playing back really well, and it just happened again. But yeah, about 12 months is usually the recovery time.
So trying to go a little bit too quickly, too impatiently, when you came back that second time, so same thing, 12 months out. So
same thing, 12 months
out. What are
we
now on the timeline? 18 years of age, is it? 17, 19?
Just turned 17.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a difficult time, your second ACL, and you're just trying to figure out what you're trying to do. You got to start the year 11, 12, you got to take school a bit more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the part where I started to reconsider what's the importance of me actually playing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just pure enjoyment? Is it a success, a career? All that crazy, like I'm going to be professional, or is it maybe it's time to slow it down and study a bit harder and experience different parts of life, maybe travel or
did you enjoy studying?
Friends.
Going back, like thinking back, did you enjoy the actual school element, or was it for you, it's just a distraction away from the things that I want to do, like play soccer?
That's
football.
Tough one, because I always enjoyed school overall. I studied a lot. But once the injury happened, school was always, before the injury, the school was always the outlet of separation, You got soccer or football, school, two different things. And it was always more of like to keep me in check, I can't go train, so I do a little bit of study. But then once football was gone, all you do is study, or you feel like that's all you're doing, and it's a bit more difficult.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
I mean, year 11, 12, tough period as it is, full stop. And we see a lot of kids drop off around about that time for obvious reasons, whether it's school or they start to party or start to, work out. They're never going to be a professional, so they lose that motivation, lose that interest. In your case, you wanted to play. You're on the verge of senior football. You were playing senior football as well as NPL juniors, but you've got this injury now. It's debilitating, and it's second time, not first time, second time. How was your mental state of affairs at that stage?
It was all confusion. It was tough because I had, at the time when I was younger, had really positioned myself. My, I guess, value was depending on how I played. If I was a better footballer, that makes me more popular. That means I'm cool and everything like that. And the moment that's was taken away from me, it felt like you had nothing, even though I had everything. I got a great family, great school, great friends. But that mental side of, not that I'm pointless, but I've lost something that's so crucial. That's not me anymore. So you really have to really find yourself again and take time and slow down to realize that, yes, I'm still important. Yes, I'm still cool. Yes, I'm still a human. I've still got friends and family, which is something I'm lucky to have.
Yeah. We're speaking with young Daniel Gniech, an inspirational young man whose injury was cut short by 3 knee injuries, but it didn't get him down. It didn't knock him down, and he still wanted to stay involved with football. Daniel, just before that little break, we were talking about how it was difficult from a mental element, but you said you sort of it's a confusing time, but you had family, friends, and you were very lucky. were they the ones that helped you the most, or was there any individuals, whether it be in that family, friends environment, or wider environment, that really helped you get over that obstacle?
Yeah, I think it was a combination of everyone. First, of course, family and was first. Mum and dad and my little brother. They was first thing was like, it's okay, it's no big deal. You've got school, you can do coaching, you could referee. They wanted me to be a referee. That'd be shocking. But then you had my coaches. You had Joey Dillitzer, Josip Skorko, Stuart Begsy, Sean. They were all Sean Mann, yes. They were all supporting, saying, "It's okay, man. It's okay. There's no pressure."
You want to touch on that? Joey Dillitzer, Sean Mann, who now are at Western Heights Secondary College, and they're such mentors, and Josip Skorko, who was now living in Croatia. Another one. And Stuart Begg. Do we even need to talk about Stuart? I mean, we had him on the show earlier this year. He's the senior coach at North Geelong Warriors. So you really had a lot of good coaches there, some that had played at international levels, some that had played at various levels, and they're coaching at various levels. And that encouragement that they would have given you, or the advice that they would have given you, that must have been really invaluable.
It really was, because it wasn't just you need to work hard for football and everything will come out. You'll be a professional footballer. It was like, if you work hard, you can do anything in life. And they really made that clear, especially after the injury. It's like, okay, you're injured. What can you do now to make your life the best you can? What do you enjoy? And go full speed at it. Just because it's not football doesn't mean you still can't train. If I wanted to work in law or finance, study harder. That's the version of training I'll have to do. And they made that really clear, and I took full advantage of that, and I went full speed ahead then.
Interesting. And now you've kind of decided in your mind that you want to be that mentor to other kids now that you had these great mentors, and obviously coaching is that next steps. Now, you actually started making, I won't say a living, but you actually, it became a paid hobby, a part-time job. How did that come about?
Bit of luck and right time, right place. There's always a need for coaches in Geelong.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've got such great talent, and I was given an opportunity to coach here in Geelong for North Geelong Warriors, and then Melbourne Victory Pre-Academy down at leisure time. And I took the opportunity, said yes, figure it out later, and just started coaching more and more. And yeah, that's just how it's gone, really.
Now, obviously, you were technical director of the juniors at North Geelong Warriors. You're involved there now. You're the under-16s assistant, and
yes.
Am I right in saying the under-20s coach? Is that right?
Yes, on game day, yes.
Yeah, excellent. So obviously, there's that need for good quality coaches, and more so mentors. I think people have had that life experience, and you've had tremendous amount of life experience at the tender age of 20, folks. Can you believe that? But also, obviously, the Melbourne Victory Pre-Academy. Now, we've seen in recent years a lot of these private academies make their way into Geelong, which I think is a great thing. I think from personal experience I've seen with my son, it's filling a void at the moment, a gap of taking those kids to the next level. And Victory being Victory, obviously they've seen that Geelong is a breeding ground of young talent.
Absolutely.
We just can't sort of seem to move it into the senior kind of sphere. But we're going to talk about some family friends of yours, someone who's very close to you, who's Anthony Lebon, who's playing at NPL Victoria at the moment. One of the few Geelong products playing there. But you've had these amazing, incredible influences, both family, at the club, and this and that. And you've kind of now sort of said, all right, all of these little bits of sources of information, sources of knowledge can help me become a really good coach. And just recently, you completed your C license course, as we said.
Yeah.
That's obviously the stepping stone to something big, something better, something what have you got in mind? Have you got sort of set yourself a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year plan with regards to coaching?
Yeah, so with my C license, got to have it for a year before you can do your B. But during that time, I plan to coach as much as you can.
You're already thinking ahead.
I'm already thinking ahead.
Wow.
B, A. I would love to do it all because I really enjoy it. I want to have my own team in the future, be like Stuart Begsy, Sean, everyone. I want to do that in the future. I want to really lead a team, lead a group of young men, or younger men, juniors, really work with them, build strong characters who are confident in playing, and just good people overall.
You're 20. You've got the under-20 team at North Geelong, so kids that are, not that much younger than you. How do you find you relating to them, and how do you find they relate to you? The fact that you're not much older than them, or in some cases probably younger than them, is that a plus or is that a negative?
It can be both, plus and negative. Plus, because I can understand all the the jokes or the TikTok rubbish, but the main thing is that I can understand what, from their perspective, what they want. They want to get to the highest level. They want to play senior football, and I can tell them in honesty and straight how they can do it, how they can keep going and keep training hard. And it's just that respecting both ways, that we're both young and we're both going to help each other best we can. If they play good, we win matches. If I coach well, they'll get the best out of it and hopefully move up to the 23s for North Geelong, the seniors, and who knows what happens from there. So it goes both ways that way. It was hard at the start, being very similar age group, but it was very quickly because I knew some of them. I played with some of the players, and it was just that respecting that we're both here for the same reason, to do our best. So we've got to do our best.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, you got the runs on the board. The fact that you were at the age of 15, 16 playing senior football. You were on the verge of a really great career from a playing sense. But unfortunately, injury, you had an excuse to stop playing because of that. As unfortunate as it be, it seems fortunately that you've now decided on this path of coaching. What would be your advice to kids that are, let's say, in that 13 to 15 age group? A lot of talent. What would you kind of say to them right now?
When I do all my coaching, my little private sessions, all that, all I tell parents, they ask the same question: how do I get better? How do I make it? And it's just, you just have to enjoy the game. Play football every day. If you're going to play video games, play FIFA. If you're going to watch YouTube, watch highlights. If you're going to watch TikTok, watch highlights. Just really enjoy the fact that you can play football, and you've got fields like this that are free that you can use whenever you'd like, and just play with friends, play at school, muck about. Not everything has to be serious. You don't always have to have a perfect training schedule and hitting the gym and cardio and everything. Just play. That's where I believe that during the COVID period, we used to come here, about 20 of us, we used to just play football, 6-a-side over and over again, 10v10 on the tiny field.
And that was for mental health, isn't it? And that's what we used to do as kids, and the kids of today don't get that opportunity. But I did hear about that famous story during the old lockdowns that this became a hive of activity.
Yeah, it was within 5 kilometres of everyone's, conveniently.
And, naturally passing the ball, you're 10 metres apart from each other. But let's not talk about those silly old days. But let's talk about the future and all of that kind of stuff. What are the plans as far as after this season? Are you already in your mind thinking to yourself, like, you mentioned one-on-one, you do private lessons and things like that. Is that something you'd like to delve a little bit more into?
I'd love to, yeah. I'd love to have maybe my own group through my private sessions. I've got like this little business, Vatra Football, meaning fire in Croatia. I'm always working hard. But yeah, I'd still love to coach next year at MPL level, or maybe a girls squad. I'm not fussed who I coach, as long as I am coaching and knowing that I'm doing something for the community and doing something for everyone, because football is a community sport. So it's not just all about winning. It's about making great friends and great connections with everyone.
Yeah, mate. I'm pretty sure that after this interview, you'll be inundated with offers. You might actually probably need an agent after all to through all these things. But mate, thank you so much for joining us. And there's a really, really important message there behind the scenes of obviously mental health and reaching out to people that you can trust. And it doesn't, if you can't do that, family and friends, there's coaches, there's mentors, there's teachers and there's so many things out there, and I think that's really important. But there's a silver lining, isn't there, that everything that might look bleak, it might look really dark, but I think you've just demonstrated the fact that there always is just around the corner something positive. Always. So Daniel, good on you. Congratulations on finishing the C license. Look forward to hearing you pass the B license course as well.
Hopefully one day.
Down the future, yeah. And in the meantime, all the very best for the future with whatever you decide to do.
Thank you.
Good on you. All right, folks, that was a very inspirational chat with a young man who, certainly could have been really, really bleak, but he's turned the corner and made something really, really positive out of the whole situation. We're going to be back after this very, very short break with the rest of tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast.
And folks, that brings us to the end of tonight's episode of the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast, episode 15 for the year. Thanks to our our business advertising sponsors, our major business advertising sponsor, Curva Coaching, to Furphy, Elephant and Castle, and don't forget that live site at the Elephant and Castle, and as of this week, Birregurra General Store as well. Thank you very much once again for joining us on the Geelong Region Soccer Show podcast. A little bit longer episode today than normal. We're going to enjoy your company next Monday night, and go Socceroos. Good night.